Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Thursday's Market Situation Report, or SITREP. Sorry it's a little bit delayed, but had to knock out our analyze the portfolio trades and our weekly debrief, and what a great session that was, covering everything that's going on in the market. And sit up in your chair and listen to this brief, because there is some incredible stuff going on in this market. And you really have to use your thinking brain. So stay with me here. First of all, this is a absolute short squeeze. Let's take a look at the chart of the S&P 500. See that blue line? That's the 50-day moving average. 1, 2, 3 and a half, 4, 5 times we tried to get above the 50-day moving average in the past month and failed, right? What happened overnight? Breaking news, we might be talking to China again. Boom. Algo. So a lot of people short. I talked about 3 bearish trades, 2 bearish on the S&P 500 and 1 on China, FXI, earlier in the week. So a lot of people were short at this 50-day moving average. It's failed 5 times, 5.5 times in a row. Boom. So the algos are bidding this market higher, right? We might be talking in October. So, Mnuchin Lighthizer, hey, first of all, we were supposed to be talking when, ladies and gentlemen? This month, September. We were supposed to be talking in September. Now we have talks in October. When, Secretary Mnuchin? Well, we really haven't figured that out yet. So let me get this straight. The market's rallying on us talking sometime in October. Yeah. Okay, great. Let me know when the date is, first of all. And second of all, what round is this? Lucky 13, baby. This will be the 13th round of talks. You buying into that? This is Lucy with the football, man. Charlie Brown. This market is Charlie Brown. So this is a short squeeze, folks, and we're going to give some of this back. As a matter of fact, we just took a look at two bearish trades. For tomorrow, I sold another bear call spread, the 40.5, 41 on FXI tomorrow, risking right around $5,000 to make $2,900 by tomorrow, and another S&P 500 bear call spread. Also risking north of 5, about 59 to make $1,700. 70% probability in that trade. Wiz, why are you doing? I'm selling into this pop. What is going to be the news tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen? Hey, didn't you hear us yesterday? We're supposed to talk in a month. Didn't you hear us yesterday? So you think the market's just going to keep going up? Last time we had, anytime you rip either down or up through a moving average, what happens? It comes back to test that resistance, or it comes back to test that support. Rip higher, and we're going to come back and chop around the 50. Look at what we did here. Rip through the 50. Hey, is this for real? Is this for real? Yeah, higher. Explode below the 50. Oh, crap. Are we really going lower? Hang around, hang around. Boom. That's what happens, folks. I know. I've been doing this for 27 years. That's exactly what's going to happen. Plus, I know we're not going to re-announce tomorrow that we're talking. But I have to tell you this, folks. Sit up in your chair and listen to this. China came out today through some of their unofficial mouthpiece media outlets like the Global Times. Reliable China insiders hint that this round of talks could lead to a breakthrough. There's more possibility of a breakthrough between the two sides. This guy's been spot on with the recent developments in the escalated trade war, right? He warned about Chinese retaliation before they retaliated, right? In a 1,200-word commentary, they said it's very likely there will be new developments in the upcoming trade talks. I want to ask you a rhetorical question, or I actually want to hear you answer this. I want to feel it in the force. Why, out of the blue, is China all of a sudden being nice? You ready? Hong Kong. Ladies and gentlemen, China is targeting the activists, the leaders. Well, Wiz, the other day the market went up because they said we're going to kill the extradition bill. I'm going to be a general in the People's Liberation Army right now, and I want you to listen to me because this is how this works. First of all, let me report this. Some media tycoon, what's his name, Lai, whatever his name is, some big Hong Kong media tycoon who got rich on capitalism and when it was a British territory and all that stuff. All of a sudden, I think in the clip, as he's talking about this, you can see a bayonet near his head telling him to say all this, but I don't care. The man's a coward. He's saying what? Protesters are bad and evil and bad people. So guess what? Some of the protesters went and firebombed the dude's house. So now he went from being like Mr. Joe super capitalist to loving the Chinese. Here's what I'm getting at, ladies and gentlemen. This crisis ain't over. Ms. Lam withdrawing the extradition law makes conflict more possible. First of all, that was 3 months ago when they did that. And now the protesters actually have a total of 5 huge demands. That's only one of them is getting rid of that. So now what can Xi Jinping do, ladies and gentlemen? He can go in and crack skulls and look to the world and look to Donald Trump and go, hey, man, I tried. All of this stuff started about the extradition bill and we killed it. And these hooligans, these what? Terrorists are still, protesting. I'm going to go crack skulls. It gives him air cover. Now, you ready for this, ladies and gentlemen? The Chinese are doing some great work. You know why? Let me ask you another rhetorical question. Will Donald Trump prefer if Hong Kong gets steamrolled like Tiananmen Square? Xi Jinping ain't letting Hong Kong go, folks. He is not letting that. This is not his Gorbachev let the wall fall moment, and there goes the Soviet Union. That ain't happening. Xi Jinping will not let the pro-democracy protest in Hong Kong go on and or seep over to mainland China. He's not going to do it. So, you ready for this? Hey, Donald, let's get a deal done, right? 2020 election coming, Donald. You want the market up and you need a deal. And oh, by the way, General, go crack skulls in Hong Kong. Folks, a couple weeks ago, the president finally got some balls, said what? There ain't going to be no trade deal if you go Tiananmen Square in China. Will he live up to that? I just took a poll in my trade brief. I said, will the president favor a trade deal or support the Hong Kong protesters if they crack down? I'm sorry, my members and I are so cynical. About 80%, we did an informal poll, 80% said the president would take a trade deal. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, he can't. I know he would want to do that as well, but guess what? He can't. Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, little Marco from Florida down here, guess what they said? If they crack Hong Kong, ain't no trade deal. And by the way, not only is there not going to be a trade deal, we might actually impose sanctions on China if they crack down on the protesters. But what do you do if you're Trump? You got an election coming up. The market was getting hammered. So folks, I'm telling you right now, the Chinese are doing fantastic moves right now. Out of the blue, they call us and want to talk, and they're being nice. All the while, reports are saying this crisis isn't over, and it's actually going to get worse. I hate using this example, but it's like those horror movies, like that horror movie Saw. Like, they're giving Trump a choice. They're going to give him a choice. Do you want a trade deal and an up market and everything? And here's what's even funnier, folks. If I was a general in the Chinese military, here's what I tell Xi Jinping. Hey, sir, go sign a trade deal because elbow, elbow, wink, wink. It ain't going to be worth the paper it's printing on. We're still going to be hacked into everything. We're still going to steal all their shit. And you're still going to subsidize Chinese companies. So ain't no skin off our back. Go sign something and let me go crack down on Hong Kong. Right? And you've heard this here first, folks. I've been thinking through all this stuff. This is the only reason. And obviously the Chinese economy's been getting bloodied and stuff like that. But what are you going to do if you're in China and you're bitching about the economy? Bitch about the economy? Let me call my congressman and bitch about the economy over here in Shenzhen. Knock, knock, knock. And you're on your way to a gulag. There ain't no dissent in China about how bad the economy is, folks. Please. When you can dictate happiness at the end of a bayonet, people are happy. So they can endure. They can get a lot bloodier than we can. So, folks, use your thinking brain. That's the other reason I'm not believing this rally. You sell into it. Now, the other, so half my thinking brain has been used on that stuff. You ready for this? lost in all of the breathless, oh my God, good news on trade. We don't even have a date, and it's lucky number 13 round of negotiations. What did everybody ignore today besides a smart guy like me? That private sector adds 195,000 jobs, blowing away economist estimates. The service sector, folks, waiters, waitresses, housekeepers, blow out numbers, folks. Do you guys know where I'm going, right? You ready for this? Private payroll growth way above Wall Street estimates, despite recession fears. The only recession fears, folks, are coming from the liberals in the media and idiot Democrats running for president. They're trying to talk us into a recession. They can't. Retail sales, consumer confidence at Tiffany's, Target, Lowe's, retail earnings have been fantastic. The retailer and customers are alive and well. But what am I getting at, ladies and gentlemen? Jerome Powell, September 18th. How can the Fed, who last time they cut rates, the dude in a press conference was James Comey. For 19 minutes, he told us everything's great, and then for 2 minutes, he said we have to cut rates. He looked like an idiot. He looked like James Comey. 19 minutes of Hillary Clinton's a felon, followed by 2 minutes of I'm not going to do anything about it. How can the Federal Reserve cut rates with blowout jobs numbers? What else did we get today, folks? Again, lost in all the stupidity on CNBC and Fox is this. Where are we? Right here. There it is. The ISM report came out this morning. Blowout number. They were looking for a 56.4. Factory orders, folks. It was 0.5 last month. They were looking for one. Explosive growth to 1.4. Factory orders. How can Jerome Powell sit there with a straight face and cut rates now in a couple weeks? Up until today, and I'm clicking on this tab because I'm going to tell you, up until today, the Fed funds futures rate was about 100% for a 50 basis point cut on September 18th. Look at the Wall Street Journal today. Fed lines up another, is that what? Quarter point rate cut. Oh boy. With trade uncertainty escalating, whoa, when did you write this article, Nick? Oh, it was this morning, 5:30, and you didn't know that trade, we talked about uncertainty escalating. We're talking again. The central bank chief is weighing diverse opinions from the, folks, I nailed this, man. As this market rose going into that Fed meeting, I said he can only disappoint. And we imploded. Ladies and gentlemen, bogus trade deal, Hong Kong, and great macroeconomic. So we got quote unquote good news out of maybe trade, negotiations, and great news macroeconomically. Hey, Jerome, why are you cutting? His last meeting, ladies and gentlemen, he had a lot of people in the room that didn't agree. The Fed chief is weighing mixed advice inside his own institution. In July, several regional bank presidents were reluctant to cut rates at all. So they sat in the room and said, we shouldn't do this. And 2 of them actually formally dissented. And as I was sitting up in Vermont a couple weeks ago, dropping my boy off at school, the Jackson Hole, before Jerome Powell spoke at Jackson Hole, what did he say? He didn't say anything. 3 Fed lieutenants and, 2 Fed lieutenants and a lieutenant commander got on TV and said, we didn't need to cut last time. Holy crap, folks. If you think everything's sunshine and lollipops, Jerome should not be cutting interest rates. I think he should be raising rates. At a minimum, they should do nothing, and I think they should be raising interest rates. Not because of trader Bill Dudley wanting to screw the president. I think the Fed should do their job. So I can't stand agreeing with people who want to screw the economy to get the president, but I think the economy is good enough where they should be doing nothing to raising rates. So that's a lot of mental gymnastics, folks, but that's what you get here at Top Gun Options. I'm not kidding you. This has been I loved today. I loved all the idiots like, golden retrievers chasing after shiny red balls of, hey, good news on trade. I'm like, hey, man, do you think like your enemy? Why would there be, out of the blue, the Chinese all of a sudden want to negotiate and see good stuff happening? That's when they order tanks and killing and stuff like that. And what do we do? Does the president want a trade deal so he can get reelected, or does he stand up for protesters that have Thomas Paine quotes on their signs and on spray painting on buildings? Give me liberty or give me death. The president completely screwed this up about a month ago when he's like, Hong Kong's part of China. Xi doesn't need advice from me on what to do. Whatever. I about spit my coffee out. I'm like, what are you, stupid? You like to compare yourself to Ronald Reagan? You ain't no beacon of freedom now. A week, 2 weeks later, he finally got a backbone and said, all right, if they go Tiananmen Square, it ain't no trade deal. And Hong Kong and China said what? Hong Kong ain't part of no trade deal, dude. So why are they playing nice? Use your thinking brain, folks. This is going to be a Saw moment for the president. You want a trade deal that's not enforceable, that they're not going to live up to, and you're going to look like a fool ultimately? Or do you support pro-democracy protesters? Because you can't have both. And that's why we're having a blast here at Top Gun Options. Having an absolute blast. Also told members today to close this XLY bull put spread. Great XLY, 2-week trade. It's up $1,800 right now. Might as well sit here because it expires in like 2.5 weeks. I'm not going to squeeze the extra $400 out of it. I'd rather deploy that capital somewhere else. Okay, so make sure you close that one. Bear call spread on FXI through tomorrow. It's a day trade, and then the bear call spread on SPX through tomorrow as well, to try and offset the two losing trades on FXI and SPX that I have on. Let's just take a look at SPX real quick and see if it's kind of fading here. I think the Dow's starting to fade a little bit. Yeah, I mean, we're starting to, there's the euphoria and then kind of giving this thing back. So, all right, guys, good brief. I'll see many of you tonight at 7 o'clock for our full throttle training, but use your thinking brain, folks. Why out of the blue are they coming up and being nice at the same time? You got a lot of people going, hey, man, this is actually getting worse in Hong Kong. All right. It'll be an interesting 24 hours because I think people need to digest what's going on. Great macroeconomic data and all of a sudden a friendly China. Use your brain. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge and God bless. I'll see you tomorrow for Friday's market wrap up.